This episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai podcast is brought to you by PMTLifestyle.com, Authentic Muay Thai Lifestyle by Pu'u. Definitely go check out the website at PMTLifestyle.com for some awesome lifestyle merchandise. That's for those of you out there either involved in Muay Thai, looking at getting involved in Muay Thai, and embrace a healthier lifestyle to live the life of Nak Muay. Go check it out. So Wadi Kop, everybody. Welcome to this episode of the Pu'u Muay Thai podcast. Hey guys, the following segment is from Mr. Bedros Keuilian of the Fit Body Boot Camp franchise, also author of Man Up. Go check him out. The following video segment is from his Instagram. It was about why gyms and fitness industry are essential during this time, and I thought I would share it with you guys as the opening to the show. Enjoy.
Gyms spread the virus. At least that's what some people think, especially those in power who view gyms as just a place to exercise and consider them non-essential and think that gyms are high risk for spreading the virus. But what if they have it all wrong? What if gyms actually help protect us from the virus? That, in fact, is exactly what gyms do. On so many levels. Ask anyone who works out consistently and you will instantly know having the choice to work out or not work out goes well beyond having the ability to have a place to exercise and to just burn some calories. When you deny a person access to a gym, you strip away parts of their identity. When you deny access to gyms, you are decreasing the physical and mental well-being of millions of people. When you deny people access to a gym, you are now contributing to our country's growing obesity epidemic. It's well been documented that obesity multiplies the risk factors for those infected by the virus. When you deny people access to the gym, you take away community, one of the most positive and supportive elements that all humans require to combat stress, anxiety, and depression, which is now at an all-time high. For so many Americans, gyms are medicine. Gyms are therapy. Gyms are an escape from the daily stresses and pressures of the world. You would never deny an individual access to their medicine for mental well-being or physical ailments, would you? Then it's time to reopen up gyms, because gyms aren't just essential, they're medicine to so many people who choose to address their mental and physical well-being through exercise, and now millions of people are suffering because gyms are closed. But don't take my word for it. Let's see those affected by these unnecessary gym closures.
Having the gym closed has just kind of rocked my world since COVID hit, going into something that has been part of your daily routine for so long, to keep you healthy and to not have that availability anymore was a huge setback, not just for me, but for many people.
First and foremost, my gym's my happy place, the place I go to stay physically fit and keep my body in a position to fight off any illness that may face. It's a place where I go to unwind a little bit or even gear up for the day. It's a place where I can set aside other worries and stresses and reduce some of my anxiety.
Having my gym closed affects me in my physical and mental well-being by not giving me that outlet to work out my mental stress, my mental anxiety.
Having my gym closed affects my physical and mental well-being in numerous ways. Obviously, with the gym being closed, it makes it harder to be motivated and disciplined to go and work out. I have to come up with my own routines and accommodate my physical space, so it makes it more difficult to stay on track and stay working out.
Gyms are essential. Gyms are mental health facilities, really. I think it is no different than a therapist or a psychologist that you go to talk about issues. I work out issues differently. I work out issues at the gym.
I found that I've been more lethargic and lazy in my head. I've been not wanting to do things. I haven't been motivated. My confidence has gone down, and my overall outlook on life has been a little bit more pessimistic.
I think it's our right. I think, not only do we pay to go to a gym, but I think if we want to go to a gym, then we should be able to.
Look, this virus is not leaving. It will always be among us, and the most vital thing we can do is to take care of our health, improve our immune system, and stay in a good mental headspace so that if we were to ever get infected by the virus, we have a fighting chance to make a fast and full recovery. For millions of Americans, gyms aren't just essential, they're medicine. Gyms have proven that they have the ability to open safely and to operate and be a part of the solution, protecting our citizens' health. Every single day, people are at risk of exposure to the virus when they go to work, when they go to the grocery store, when they go to a restaurant, when they go to a bar, when they go to a liquor store, marijuana dispensary, and even a strip club. Yet these businesses are considered essential and are free to open and operate. To those in power, we ask you to wake up, stop the hypocrisy, and classify gyms as essential. And understand that when you deny millions of people access to gyms, you are liable for the destruction of their health, their mental well-being, and you're putting them at higher risk should they contract the virus. Gyms aren't just essential, they're medicine.
If I can go get a burger at McDonald's and I can go buy beer at the liquor store, there is zero reason that I shouldn't be able to work out at a gym.
All right, today, guys, we have Coach Todd in the house today.
Hi, folks.
Yeah, so
The man, the myth, the legend.
Exactly. So, Coach Todd, we've been friends for going on 14 years now?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, through martial arts. Super awesome. So we got Instagram. We have some Instagram people on here. So if you guys are listening out there on Spotify or iTunes or watching on YouTube, you guys are going to end up, you might hear us talking to some of the people on here and stuff as well. Patrick, boom, Dylan, welcome. Group 9 Martial Arts, what's up, guys? Got a bunch of cool people in here.
Patrick's the homie.
Yeah, I haven't seen you. I hope you're doing good, Patrick. If you're watching out there, man, it's good to see you. So we've been friends for 14 years. We met through martial arts. So, by the way, this was a much requested podcast by a lot of the students. They're like, get Coach Todd on there. I'm like, man, me and him have both been like, you've been doing your, you have a new profession that you're doing and stuff like that, that you've been like really finding your niche into. So what is it exactly? You're very comfortable talking about it.
I can talk about it to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Definitely have found my niche tying some of my professional strengths to my personal belief system. And I've taken on a number of official certifications in the eyes of the state in private armed security.
So, and you've been doing that for how long now?
I've dabbled in security my whole life, so it's definitely a belief system of mine. But I moonlighted in security while working a few full-time jobs, but I took it on as a full-time career only about 2.5 years ago.
2.5 years. Yeah, I remember when you were like, hey, I'm kind of looking into this. You had like a whole program and everything you went through. I remember that.
Yeah, I got lucky. I was able to attain a spot in a long time, like a 6-week, basically peace officer level academy that really gave me a lot of insight to the industry.
You know what's funny is I found out that Sean Yakubian's friends with those guys.
Oh yeah, for sure. They're wired and they know Sean well.
Yeah, it's funny to see that. You know what's funny is I actually hung out with Sean last weekend. I hadn't seen him in a long time too.
Nice.
What's up, Jerobi? Oh, Nick Englehart's in the house.
I see you, Nick.
Yeah, putting in work. When you were doing that and everything too, like prior to shutdown, you've been with the academy here at Pu'u Muay Thai since like. You call me, you're like, hey, you got a place? You got a storefront? Like, what are you going to do if you're sick, fucker? That was pretty much like, dude, I want to help out. And I don't think a lot of people kind of know, like, how that played out. It was like, I think a lot of people that came into the academy and you're just always here. So a lot of the newer students that came in, in between like that shutdown period where we were allowed to open, haven't met you yet. I know they've seen you. Maybe they might have known you or whatever it may be. I guess, and we were just talking prior to the stream too, is you're like, I haven't even been like a coaching position because you've been busy with work and everything that's just been going on in the world. I guess I can't wait to have you back, man. I can't wait, like just to do, even if it's like one time, and just once some normalcy comes of it.
Yeah, no, I mean, it definitely will be something that, we'll get back on track with again once this is through.
Yeah.
It's coming into a coaching role, kind of, I didn't like start out looking to be a coach.
No.
You start out the martial arts journey on your own path, and then over time and certain conditions change, and there's movement at a gym here or there, and suddenly you find yourself in a position of leadership or being able to share the knowledge, and that's the beauty for me of it. So, that's where it's been a little tough for me in the shutdown. Is I think of myself like, I'm not like, I'm not antisocial or whatever, but you know what I mean? I like to keep to myself a little bit. But then I realize, like, when I come into the academies and things like that, I kind of come out of that shell a little bit. And I really enjoy the people interaction. And during this period of quarantine, that's what I've kind of missed, is the people interaction. Social media has been good to help me stay in touch. But,
it's not the
some
same.
of y'all can come catch these hands. That's what I'm talking about.
I know you could call out on that one.
No, I'm not calling out anybody. I'm just having fun. But it's a mental health thing for me, talking about the martial arts balance. And where it becomes a reality for me is that, in my professional life, being able to have a certain skill set and being able to feel confident in a certain way and having a clear mind and being able to, not only de-escalate yourself but others is a critical element to what I do. So
for sure.
And this is the church that kind of helps me keep it there.
Well, it's funny because like when you're doing that, I'm like, of course you're doing that. That makes sense.
Yeah, I had a friend from high school tell me we had got caught up a few months ago, and he had found out that I had gotten into this martial arts journey and competed professionally in this type of thing, and he was like, "Yeah, makes sense for that guy."
Here, Patrick saying, Patrick Sigua Ventura, coaching makes you a better martial artist for sure. Absolutely, I bet it's a different skill, better understanding of everything. Yeah,
for sure. And being able to communicate it, in a way that people can understand is a whole other thing too.
Oh yeah, the physiognomy and everything like that. The pedagogy of teaching martial arts, like the art of teaching martial arts, there's art to it. So how did you get involved in martial arts?
That's a great question. So I definitely,
it's like I know, but not everybody else knows.
I've always been sort of a physical person in my life, whether it was, growing up in a tough neighborhood and having to learn, not being able to defend yourself well and the consequences of it, and then through the Marine Corps and this type of thing, it was an interest in my life, but I went down the family life path early. I had some kids really young, and of course when that type of thing happens, sometimes the time that you can find for yourself slips. So, my fitness wasn't quite where I wanted it to be, and I had always regretted not wrestling in high school. That was my thing. I was very busy with 3 sports: football, basketball, and baseball, but I wasn't very good at any of them.
Wait, you did basketball?
It was my high school was really good, but we played in a really good rec league, you would call it, but it was organized through the schools.
I know you do like pickup games and stuff like that. So I guess
just for fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, the wrestling void kind of led me into where I wanted to explore it later in life as a way to get into a different type of shape.
Yeah.
And so I explored a martial arts academy that offered a kickboxing program and a jiu-jitsu program. And I went in there on the first day, and I met. I went into a local gym here in the 805, and I met a buddy of mine named Nick Willard. I'm gonna drop a name right now.
Dude, hell yeah, Nick's awesome, man.
That was a fellow serviceman, and I gravitated towards right away. He invited me to come and pick up a class at the Academy for Jiu-Jitsu, and true story is I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I showed up with a pair of basketball shorts on. I was that guy. And, decided I'll roll in the end. And the group next to us was rolling pretty hard, and the guy got swept, and his leg came all the way around through the air and cracked me right in the eye. And I got this huge black eye on my very, very first day, and it wasn't even from my roll. And I was working like a 9-to-5 day job at the time. It's full-on Fight Club story. Went in the next day with a black eye and had to explain how it happened. But I was absolutely hooked from that moment on.
I imagine you going in wearing like a tie and like white collar shirt.
Yeah, more or less. Yeah, definitely. And that's True story to the day.
And so then you started going through, like, for everybody that's out there, they don't understand. Like, you know, now we have amateur mixed martial arts, camo here in California and a lot of other states. Back then, you guys didn't have camo or anything like that. That wasn't even a thing. We wanted it to be a thing, but it wasn't like a regulated thing then. And like MMA was still very new in regards to regulation and stuff then too. Like you couldn't. I don't know. Like when you started, was it actually? Were they sanctioning it in California yet? No, they hadn't sanctioned it in California.
You know, there were a lot of guys in the 805 that have a lot of talent and made it very far in the game and had a lot of fights. In definitely, you know, the Southern California area, you know, in some wild places, and had some wars with some other good guys. Yeah. And people don't even know about some of these fights, you know. They don't, because we didn't have cell phone cameras and stuff. Like, we had like maybe like someone like you know splurged on these nice digital cameras is quote unquote nice. Yeah, it's like pixelated and stuff like that. And you know, some places you weren't allowed to have cameras. No, you know what I mean? It was like, you know, we've fought in some wild places that, you know, bare floor. Yeah, you know, it's the I think the craziest story you had from car yards in Long Beach, dude. What else was that before? Was that King of the Cage back then, or were they more or less? Yeah, it was like before they started doing King of the Cage, right? And then, well, no, I think it was almost the same guys. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. But some of those were, you know, on like old school internet broadcasts. Yeah, it's like MMA in the heyday. Yeah, I think Jamie, Tony, and Tony Ferguson was on like KADY.com or something like this 1,000 years ago. You know, nobody knew about that. No, that's insane, man. I think we were talking about. When it goes into like that MMA stuff, I remember there was a specific instance when I was training. Like, you know, I met you like one of my first days of training martial arts. I always tell people that. I'm like, I met Todd the first day, and he's one of the few people that I met that I'm still friends with from then. Because you're one of the few people that was actually like, you know, you maintained like a friendship with me for a long time. But I remember it was you and Bourne, Mr. Kuhn, fighting over at Lake Casitas. Yeah, that was a fun one. In a cage at the Hells Angels like party. Definitely. And like, was it Metal Militia was there too? Yeah. So the dirt bike team. Yeah, no, I was just, man, how did that story just come up? Dude, well, it's because you're going into unregulated backdoor stuff, man. It was wild. I mean, but you know what? Like, the sheriff's department was there, so they knew that it was going on. So I don't know if like it was on gaming or like Indian territory or something. I don't even recall. No, you know what I think it was back then is there was no real enforcement for regulation too much of the time. And I think, but, you know, the angle was that they were just exhibition matches, of course. You know, but then things escalate, and then there were a couple of real fights planned. You know what I mean? And mine was one of them. I remember finding out when we got there that, you know, the guy that my opponent was an experienced guy and like was more or less sponsored by like the Hells Angels, and you know, I was just like insurance guy showing up like for weigh-ins, like I'm just here to fight. Yeah. And you know, having like his drunken family come down and like tell him how that guy was gonna kick my ass and blah blah blah, and I was like trying to maintain an even level and like cool. Yeah, there was no like security there. You know what I mean? There were no guys that are, you know, grew up but started fighting in the 805, they know this was like, you know, it was just, you were there. Yeah, it's just, that's how we did it. And the same thing like with the smokers and stuff back then too. I really feel like the smoker era, a lot of people hear about it, but they might not know about it. And it's the very same thing. It's like the MMA smokers you guys would have. And it was essentially smokers could be fight nights. Like I remember seeing a DVD of you and like, it was like Matt Doucette, I'm going to drop another name, you know, and was it Brian Ortega? You know, who's fighting the UFC now, the champion? And you guys were fighting Pancrase Rules. Dude, I sent him a video. I found that DVD. I have it still to this day, folks. And I've shared it before, but I have, that guy hit me, I sent an image of him, and he hit me back right away. He's like, hey, on Instagram, definitely. I was like, oh shit, Brian Ortega is fucking, and boom. Yeah. So yeah, it was amazing to see, and some of these guys are like, you know, there were some younger guys that fought on that card that went on to teenagers. You know, now are like police officers. Yeah. You know what I mean? So it's wild.
I think what was crazy about that, seeing it, I remember the first time I'm like, wait, they're not wearing gloves. Like, is it bare knuckle? It's like, bare knuckle to the body, but open hand slaps to the face.
Yeah, pancration rules.
Yeah, and I remember just seeing
that. That was the whole thing, too. You know, now they're kind of doing it with combat jiu-jitsu. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, Nate Marquardt was the king of the cage champion, or more or less, right? And some of that stuff was pancration-style rules. Yeah. And now they're doing it with combat jiu-jitsu.
I've heard about combat jiu-jitsu. Do you know anything? Like, what are the rules for it, you know?
Shit, to me, it's more or less an MMA fight with no gloves, right? I mean, I've only watched a little bit of it, but I'm sure there's, you know, no elbows or knees or any like thing like that. But an open hand to the face strikes to the body, I'm sure, are okay too, probably. Yeah. I mean, I've seen a guy like trying to leg lock a dude getting slapped in the face like 30 times in a row. You know what I mean? Like,
check it out.
It's pretty wild, yeah, but it would be fun. Some of these, you know, it's kind of it would probably be a gateway drug to actual full mixed martial arts.
For some people to kind of, like, a more tame version of it. Yeah. I think that's kind of the goal for it, isn't it?
It's like entertaining as hell, you know, it makes the game faster. Can't stay there, gotta move, getting hit.
Yeah, you can't stay there, I can smack you right now.
Yeah.
I definitely, like, you know, you think about, like, guys who were doing that, they had the Pank Race promotion in Japan, which is like a lot of that, those rules came from that. Same thing. Bosruden being one of them. Another person located in the 805 now.
Yeah, Boss would knock you out with
palm strike.
You know, hell yeah.
Yeah, people always ask about it and they're like, oh, you know, self-defense, what would you do? I'm like, elbow, palm strike, and knee.
You know, and in law enforcement and this type of thing, you know, you're not supposed to be striking with a closed fist.
Nope.
You know what I mean? You have to be, you know, controlled in that way. So it's a whole thing in itself.
It's funny how that comes around for that, right? Like you were talking about, all ties together. With going through like the evolution of that, like I think I remember like one of the last like MMA smokers you did, and it was like when the state started shutting him down. So wasn't it like that? Was it the guy? His name starts with an L, ends with a R. Showed up. I can say it, Larry. Everybody in the MMA world knows Larry.
Oh yeah, I don't remember who the CSAC dude was.
But I remember you were telling me about it. I can see him.
Yeah, I can see his face. You know what I mean? But yeah, no, definitely that was going to be a big event too. That was, you know, people sold a lot of tickets for that one. You know, and it was pretty fun. There were like pressers before that one and everything. Like, you know, there's a couple of the local guys. It was like House of Champions.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, HOC, who'd also do smokers back then too.
Yeah. And you know, it's fun to see these same guys now that, you know, they're cornering coaches or cornering fighters and this type of thing. It's kind of an evolution.
Oh yeah, definitely. I think the piece from that is like, I want, like, it's funny because a lot of people are like, oh, these people are in it for money. It's like, you're like, dude, these people have been doing it for free for a long time.
Yeah.
And the money just happened to come in, I feel, from it. Like, I'm going to say from like a pro fight pro standpoint, like most people don't understand what it actually takes to fight professionally in the U.S., like a sanctioned professional event. It's like you get EKG, MRI, blood test, eye exam, MRI of the brain. You have to get, you know, psych check essentially.
Yeah, I mean, you got a whole set of problems, right? You got the sets of problems for the promoters. You got a set of problems for the matchmakers. You got a set of problems for the fighters themselves, the coaches, the logistical angle of, you know, making these events happen at a place that'll insure it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there's and you know, there's been a lot of cool places that we've had some amateur and pro fights that we've been a part of it, but there's been some dives too, you know. And it's mostly about, you know, the progression. You find over the years, it's the people, and that's what, you know, again, keeps me engaged.
Yeah, and it's like when it comes into people, it's like the fighting part is kind of like the cherry on the cake for the training. It's like I like doing this because I like the training and I enjoy for me, I enjoy like the self-improvement aspect of it and like testing yourself and making yourself better. And the fighting is just the fun part. It's like, shit. Like,
yeah, it's kind of funny how that paradigm has shifted. You know, I've seen it for myself and I've seen it for other people too, right? Like they'll come in the door, Jonathan, you know, and some of the other coaches out here that are joining in know. Like people will come in with all different kinds of goals, right? Like very, 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 well, more so now the percentage has grown lately, but initially very, very few people would come in and be like, I want to fight.
Yeah.
They were coming in, whether fitness or stress management, you know, or just to explore something new about themselves. And then over time, the opportunity comes up for them to compete.
Yeah.
And now they have a decision to make, right? Like, in each time, I think we would all agree, like, each time you compete, definitely you find this in jiu-jitsu. I found this in jiu-jitsu first, was even though it's a scary notion to compete, how you feel afterwards and how much more you grow when you have. It's like, holy smoke. Like, if you could, I said this, whether classes were in session or not, you put that in a jar and you could sell that by the gram. Like, can you imagine the street value of how you feel after you compete if you could just jar that and take it anytime?
Yeah.
So then you find out whether or not, and Nick Willard, you know, it's funny, like you fought once and you're not a fighter. You've competed.
Yes.
If you decide to do it again and go through with it, then he was comfortable with you. I'm a fighter, right?
Yeah.
And I'll never forget that. Like Nick Willard telling, like, hey, you know what? Just to get the taste, you know, you have fought, but being a fighter is doing it again.
Yeah, and continuing it.
Yeah,
like, hey, I want to get better, and I want to beat some ass next time.
Sure. And some people they find out, okay, I don't want to be a competitor. I just want to stay engaged, and that's fine too.
Yeah.
We've always preached that.
Yeah.
You know, and then as a coach, you do kind of hope that you catch that lightning in a bottle. You know what I mean? And you're like, all right, this person's really feeding off of it, but they could also like take themselves to the next level, and we could really see some great output from these people. And there's at least 10 or 12. 20 probably people that are joined here that are all like, either we've trained with or sparred with or coached along the way. We've seen the talent in a lot of these people.
A lot of them coming up on Instagram here.
And these are all a bunch of regular folks.
Yeah, they're just people, day jobs.
Most of them are ugly. Paul Whiskey,
yeah,
805 is definitely ugly.
Definitely ugly.
Check out that guy's salsas though. Shout out to the local flame.
Yeah, was it local salsa?
Dealer 805. Yeah, much love to that guy.
Yeah. So like the people who go into those matches and stuff like that, the ones that stuck it out, those fighters that were developed then, now it's like, now we're here. All of a sudden, it's like a decade and a half later, 2 decades for some of them 3 or 4, and now all of a sudden MMA came around and shift focus on everything. Like for me, I was definitely one of those people that came in for like I was coming in for like anxiety. I was young. I was 18. Like your main thing you used to always tell me is, John, eat a sandwich. So like seeing
feed the beast.
Yeah, you're like, dude, you need to eat a sandwich, dude. You're too skinny. And then I remember you guys making fun of me.
Get fed like this.
What? Sorry, do that again. But having that feeling like that first time, I think Roy just signed me up on like the smoker list back. And he's like, I'm like, so dude, I'll put your name on it. Fuck. Okay, let's do it. Like,
yeah, it just happens organically to some of us. I'm sure, a lot of people have a unique story like that it just, you came in the gym. We had a couple of fighters on the team at the academy I was at that had some smoker fights lined up, and a guy either backed out for one reason or another. And I had just been at the gym a lot. I had suddenly become a gym rat, and I hadn't done any Muay Thai, only jiu-jitsu. And the coach, just by my work ethic alone and my desire to just be there working, he was like, hey, would you consider it? And I was like, and I freaked out, and I wasn't quite ready. I said, let me think about it tonight. I went home, thought about it, came back the next day and said, I'm in.
Yeah.
And that was like the very first day of my Muay Thai journey. I was like, all right, if I'm going to fight,
I need to learn striking.
Yeah.
More striking stuff. So, fast forwarding through all that stuff, you ended up making your pro debut. What's funny is I talk about this on the podcast. I don't know if you listened to it. If anybody on there, it's how Pu'u Muay Thai came to be. And there was a moment, it was at your pro debut, I think, was that in Westlake? I think that's where Jamie Toney and Tony Ferguson fought.
Yes.
So when I was there, I pretty much had already I almost gave up on Muay Thai. We went to Thailand, fought, did a couple smokers, and I came back and it was there wasn't a lot going on Muay Thai wise then in California. There wasn't a whole lot of stuff. It was on the Indian reservations. And I remember we were there. I was there with Roy and Rick, and we're all sitting there by the ring, and they're like, "Hey, you got to train with this guy Knockweed," and I was like, "I don't know." And they pretty much read me of every excuse in the book, But what it came with the stories, for anybody that wants to hear more of that, they can go back and listen to that. But what the moral of it was like, we're all like catalysts for each other. And we talked about it here is like, the person next to you might become your best friend, the reason why you do this for the next 20 years.
Absolutely.
And you don't know. And it's just, you having that's what brought me there. And they were able to get in my face like, dude, you need to fucking train again. You can't quit.
Yeah, and some people that you surround yourself with, they stay more in tune with it or less in tune with it over the course of the journey, right? But it's something that you guys can all commonly share. Like I still have this outdoor adventure crew that I run with. Some of these guys, they've done Muay Thai a little bit and it's kind of come in and out of their life.
Yeah.
We'll be out there getting ready to surf, and suddenly one of them's like shadowboxing with the other one.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Look at the hell are these guys doing?
They're embracing it's part of their lifestyle now.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's their thing they do, lifestyle, holding pads, or
so you can shadowbox anywhere.
Yeah.
I mean, I got my youngest son that is now in Navy boot camp right now, but he had to go through 2 weeks of quarantine in a hotel before he could be at recruit training officially. And I was giving him tips on how to stay in shape in the room, and I was like, don't forget the shadowboxing.
Yeah, part of it.
That's part of it.
It's good mental prep for sure, especially if it's something you guys have been doing outside when you're training, prepping for it too. Did you get a chance to peek at the book yet? I know you're busy.
I have not.
Okay.
I have not looked at it. I mean, I thumbed through it a little bit, but I'm definitely
There's some things in there you'll look at and you're just gonna laugh because you're like, this fucker put this in there.
That's great. And I read the foreword where he mentioned Fred Lemus, who was a big part of the inspiration on my Muay Thai journey. Rest in peace to him. Much love to anybody that knows this name. So yeah.
Yeah, that was a given. I'm like first coach in like martial arts dedicated to it.
Yeah.
Without him, he was like I give one to his sister Alex. I'm like, he was like the one person that like believed in me when no one else did. He's like, yeah, you can do it. Yeah, you can do it. Keep showing up.
Man, his directness to life. You know what I mean? Like, you were gonna get a fucking straight answer out of that guy every time, and you were gonna get a perspective that you probably didn't think of.
Yeah.
And for that, I was drawn to the guy, and he took an investment in me as a martial artist too, and it was like, damn, that felt good.
Yeah.
And then it was like developed a little bit of a ride or die style for the guy.
Yeah.
And even some of the fights that I took early on, I was like not sure of, and he was like, let's go.
Yeah, you got it. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's train, get it done. And that was one of those things, like, he would do the same thing with me, and he was one of those people, I think, that helped me like dial in my mental prep. Like, some of the premise of that book I had were things that I figured out with him in like regards to mental prep, because he would be able to see it and he would say the right thing, and I realized like later on reading through like sports psychology stuff, what he was doing without him even realizing like that's what he was doing. It's just he knew that's what was going to get you ready.
Yeah.
Just from experience being in the trenches as like a cornerman and a coach, and he had that natural knack for coaching. That's for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. So definitely miss. I see you tune up a little bit.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's an emotional thing. Always talking about that guy, but for those that don't know, he's somebody that literally, I want to say almost every fighter, like in martial arts, I'm pretty sure he's trained. That's like fighting pro in the 805. Like, I'm pretty sure he's had his hands on him at some point.
Yeah.
So
he's touched a lot of lives.
Yeah, he's still around and everything too. And having that formulation into that, and you going pro, and having, again, there's that whole like community aspect that formulates it. I always think it's really funny when people come in, and I know we've talked about this. It's like they come in, the next thing you know, like one of your friends is like, hey, this guy said he was training with you, and he sends me a picture. I'm like, oh yeah. The next time that person comes in, it's like, hey, Todd said to say hi. What? It's like, yeah, dude, he trains there too. Oh, like, and just people don't realize like actually how small the community is.
Yeah.
And like, if people come in like blah blah blah, this guy, you're like, okay, yeah, cool, man. Like, you're like, that's like one of my really good friends, and they're like, oh shit. People don't realize that even just in like, not just in Ventura County, but just the world in general in martial arts is probably about like the size of your thumb if the world was the size of that sign. So it's really like, it's a tight-knit community, as you know.
Yeah.
You've seen all these people go on to ONE FC and stuff now, and UFC, Bellator, and they're all people that, like, when you used to come watch me fight at Commerce, like, a bunch of those guys, it was like Joe Schilling, Kevin Ross, Sanchai, like, seeing all these people, now they're big names.
Absolutely.
And it was like, we were all...
Mark Beecher.
Yeah, Mark Beecher. Dude, shout out to... I gotta get that guy on.
That'd be fucking genius.
I love Mark Beecher, man. So for those out there that don't know Mark Beecher, he trained Kevin Ross. He was training he's training MMA fighter. What's his name? Matt Brown. He was training Matt Brown. He's trained Cowboy Cerrone. He's trained.
Definitely is connected to the Vegas scene for a very long time.
Yeah, so you'll see him everywhere. But actually, I met up with him a couple times during some of the. I repped with him out in Arizona, so we're hanging out. His gym started up during shutdown.
Yeah, that's fucking terrible.
But now he's open and he's going.
Nice.
Thank God.
Shit.
Yeah. So shout out to Mark Beecher.
Shout out to Prohibition Martial Arts.
Prohibition
across
Martial
the country.
Yeah.
Get your temperature checked. Wash your gi. Don't get COVID.
Yeah. Speakeasy Martial Arts is in season at this time. But going through that and seeing these people grow like that, I guess you say it goes back to the people, and I 100% agree.
And later in my life, Jonathan, you know what I mean? I'm 44, whatever, you know what I mean?
You're 44?
44.
I thought you were older.
But you kind of have to shift gears, right? Like you like it starts out as your own journey, and you're into it for your own growth, and you have your own goals, and you develop them, and you maybe attain some of them, and then whether or not the active competitive scene, sort of passes you by a little bit because you're a little long in the tooth. It's a young man's game. You start to find other things to feed off of, and that's the return from others, right? Like seeing them grow, seeing them have success. Being in that corner, seeing a guy girl, kid, whoever, like let out an emotion in a win or a loss, or having family members come up to you that watched them fight and say thank you so much for helping my son or daughter, do that for them, and hearing people use your class time as a way to battle depression, a way to find a different way to stay in shape, whether it's a way to give them balance, and be a better parent, something simple. Those are the little things that I like. Oh man, keep me going.
Yeah, the like case in point, my brother, like you kept him like accountable. It was like Tuesday, Thursday, 8. He always had to show up, and that guy's had a life-changing experience from that. And we've had a lot of students like during this time, because like we have a lot of crazy shit going on in our world, especially in the martial arts and fitness industry. And like one of the students reached out to me, he's like, dude, you literally saved my life. Like this person was on heart meds and all this other, was overweight, depressed, and doctor's like, hey, whatever you're doing, keep doing it, because I'm taking off your heart meds, and you're doing great, and you're the healthiest you've ever been. And he's just like, oh shit, like this is, I can't stop.
The spirit's a super powerful thing, you know what I mean? Like, there's, one of the sounds like nails in a chalkboard is hearing, I can't, right? Like, oh, I can't train like this, or I can't eat like that, or I can't sleep enough, or I can't find the time enough. Like, yes, you can.
You got to find your why.
Yeah. And definitely, you got to find your why.
Yeah.
And and a good coach will help you along that way. Definitely, and especially if you can communicate that to them. Like, hey, this is what my goal is. We've probed that of our own student body here, and there's. We don't find ways to say why we can't. We find ways to say why we can do it.
Yeah.
And we can. The mind is a powerful thing, and having your spirit invested can change your health dramatically. I mean, I was not this sexy when I started this.
This is facts.
Nearly 200 pounds. I was like lifting a few times a week because I thought I was like, in some sort of shape, and I was playing basketball on Sundays, maybe mountain biking a little bit here or there, but I was in no semblance of the shape I was as a young and hungry Marine, and I wanted to like bridge that back and martial arts definitely was it for me.
That was the key to that.
Boom.
Yeah. It's like talking about the people that come in here and the times they've come in. It's like, and this is something that I've expressed, like how grateful I am to be that person that gets to be like their first experience in martial arts. Because me and you have both seen some crazy experiences in martial arts.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for me around the world, I've seen some crazy shit. For you around the world, you've seen some crazy shit. And seeing what, like, it's literally like you said, like the Mr. Miyagi and like the Cobra Kai, like, that's like I can see how that
Yeah,
really
those are real
arts.
things.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, as far as a vibe and, you know, an extreme of behavior, you know, where some martial art in academies are very zen-like, and, you know, they will have a lot of respect laced through their academy, and there are other gyms that are more thuggish, ruggish, like, you know, and they don't have that kind of, you know, mentality, and I definitely prefer the more zen approach.
Yeah, the martial artist approach.
Yeah,
I guess
absolutely.
is what
I mean, I literally just watched Karate Kid the other day. I put it on my Instagram. You know what I mean? But folks, there are so many gems in that movie. If you just watch it again and listen, you know what I mean? Not like talk with your girlfriend through the whole movie. I'm saying, like, watch the movie. It's so many gems in that movie, for real. So many gems.
And then the new series, I think it was the Cobra Kai series, got put over to Netflix.
Yeah, I'm good on that one, folks. I'm
just gonna say, because there was a video that was on YouTube a while back. It was like, oh, let's flip the script and put Johnny as the good character and Daniel-san as the bad guy.
Yeah.
But what they do is they actually took the whole series and played that role in the series, and it's like, it's like it's an interesting concept, and it's like, you know, a boy who's you know, he had a stepfather who was very rich and treated him like shit in Johnny. And then you had Daniel, who had no dad, moved across country, and how those two extremes had two very different perspectives. And then with the correct or incorrect upbringing, how it has two different results. Both, you know, I guess you could argue successful.
So there's a moral in there.
Yeah, and it's tied in, and it's really good. And it talks about it's like about being true to what you are as a person, and not who the people are that bring you around you. You know, your mentors is like, this is something that I've learned, is like the people that you have as mentors, those are the people that help influence what you're going to do later, but they don't decide what you're going to do. They help you make it, their influence on you, whether you want them to or not. Their influence on your decisions. It's just part of having the people around you. They say, like, well, you're like, there's 5 successful people, you hang out with them, you're going to be the 6th. Right? So it's the same thing. They're going to influence you in one way or not. So going away from Karate Kid a little bit, you know I told you that, like, there was some stuff going on here. Like, we met up, we had breakfast, and I was like, hey, let's do a podcast. I was talking about, like, this week, was it BSF Fitness? They were going to court about their temporary restraining order for, like, the fitness industry and stuff like that here. I don't know, did you catch any of my stuff on Instagram, what was going on with it, or not really?
No, I mean, I'm familiar, somewhat familiar with it, because it's a local story, and I know people, you know, friends of mine that are working out there, and, you know.
You hear about it, yeah. So
they're, like, doing selfies at a gym right now. It's like,
they you know, for their thing was, I found out that they just bought the building, and they literally had, like, no choice, like, because there's no financial relief for businesses. No one's offering to pay rent. People were talking about, disaster assistance loans. Like, okay, you get $1,000 for each employee, and then you had your PPP, which is for payroll, not for mortgage. But regardless, it's a sticky situation. I highly encourage everybody to go out there and go check out and look what's going on in your county. Be involved in your city council. Here in City of Ventura, I'm trying to be more involved and see what's going on. I looked at the agenda for next week. You know, they're talking about extending the emergency health order here in the City of Ventura for another 2 months. So as long as that's going on, there's really not much that we can do.
Yeah, I mean, during this thing, my thing would be, like, you know, you guys got to find other. I've had to. I don't want to say you guys. Yeah. I've had to find other sources, you know, to stay tapped into my mental health. You know, and for those of you folks that, you know, are training with, you know, a tight knit group of folks, you know,
cohorts.
Yeah, you know, I mean, exercise caution. You know what I mean? You know, cleanliness is key. And for me, it's the same thing as like, it's not the same, but it's a tipping point on being able to sustain a business and being able to sustain my mental health. So how much risk am I willing to assume, given what's going to keep me in a balanced state? And finding some other hobbies is this has been a good time for that. Whether it's get outside more, this type of thing. Got to find those other things. Folks can't just sit around saying I can't do what I used to do, and just that's it.
Yeah, like I'm done. Yeah, it definitely we made our online university course. There's like pad holding videos in there to show people how to hold pads.
Yeah, that stuff's been good, man. I got to give you some love in that realm, Jonathan.
Yeah. So there's and we're not the only ones doing that. There's a lot of content that came out there from a lot of badass Muay Thai fighters, Jiu-Jitsu instructors, or Jiu-Jitsu players. Everybody in the martial arts world really went, here's everything we have. Like I was telling you, that's how my book came to be. It's like I was writing for us. I'm like, well, shit. I gotta give it. I just might as well release it to everybody because I don't know if we're ever gonna get to use it. Under Pu'u Muay Thai. But coming into the, I liked how you hit on that. For a lot of people, whether it be yoga, whether it be going for runs, finding a friend or a family member, somebody that you can be accountable with, even if virtually, I think is very important for people, even if they're halfway across the world. That's what you said, like social media helps out a lot, like to help bridge that gap a little bit. It's not the same. Yeah. Like virtual stuff's not the same, but it's something. And it keeps that spark alive and keeps it going. Maybe before you felt like your progress was sprinting down the street. When you're doing virtual, you're going for a nice stroll. That's okay. Sure. You're making progress. But with the county stuff, it was very interesting. And I'm just gonna say, again, please just reach out to your local city councils. If you guys are in Ventura County, awesome. Reach out to Ventura County Board of Supervisors. Just send them an email and ask them, what can businesses do in the fitness and martial arts world to reopen? Like, man, I'm telling you, I'm making a whole template, just simple questions for people to send to city council and to board of supervisors, because it's like a lot of people you've probably seen, there's a lot of wow, we should do this, but no one's actually taking action. And they literally I approach them and they're like, oh, you're only one of 5 people. I'm like, 1 of 5 people? I go look through and it's hundreds of comments online. So I think people just, hey, put your money where your mouth is, please, because if not, there might not be a martial arts academy to come back to at some point.
Yeah, it's going to be small business different. In general, whether it's martial arts, whether it's your local coffee shop,
tattoo parlors,
barbershop. Fuck yeah, man! All those places right now are feeling the same pinch. I don't want to get into politics and economy and all that shit right now.
Yeah, we'll leave it at that. But I want to make sure people know it's very important for people's livelihoods. You were talking to me, you're like, dude, have you thought about just leaving the country for a bit until the shit blows over?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, cool. I'm not crazy for thinking this.
No, I think that's part of what you tap into when you get into martial arts. Is you get some sense of a global awareness, because now you're, whether you're training with Brazilians commonly on the jiu-jitsu mats, or you actually have a Muay Thai instructor with some Thai influence. It's not just American kickboxing. There's a difference. And you can start to explore some of those cultures, and that should be on your list of possibilities to do when you bug out time.
A bug out plan and a bug in plan is good too. So currently we're getting close to bug in plan, I guess is what that would be for me. Shout out to Muay Thai Meme. Boom, my guys right there. Thanks for the shout outs all the time, guys. Have you checked out their page?
I may have heisted a few memes.
Dude, yeah, we definitely post some stuff up, and they post some good
My stuff's pretty fun, so
Yeah, hey, you know what? You can always go snake some of this guy's memes. He does have gold. I remember the Top Gun one you had. So the need to clinch.
That's funny.
Dude.
That's an old one.
Yeah, you should repost that. That's some old stuff right now. But I guess, coming through, and you're 44?
44.
Damn, we're getting old, bro.
And the competitive edge for me isn't done yet. You know what I mean? You guys that know me know I still like to, As my friend Matthew said, would say, keep the tools sharp. Maybe some jiu-jitsu in my future. Professionally, I know. But yeah, I think my reward is helping others at this point. And Jonathan, you've given me a facility here to do it for a number of years, and I was doing it at other places, and things had kind of changed momentum, and you were taking a leap and opening up your own spot. And when the Marvel team up kind of concept presented itself, I'm glad you took the plunge, and I was able to support it. And there's a number of other people that have been able to support it along the way. It hasn't been easy at times for you, but as a team, we've been through it, and the student base has stayed by us through some tough times as well. And there's been so much love that's happened at this academy and happening in academies across the country. Like, you can't say that it isn't essential. It's an essential industry. God damn it. Pardon my French.
Yeah, you can cuss all you want here.
We'll be all Elon Musk up here.
Yeah, so I fully expected it.
Nah, not even confirming nor denying it.
I will neither confirm nor deny whether I partake in
the concept of a podcast was fun, though.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Well, it's something that we've talked about for a long time. David Chavez was one of the ones like, dude, we've like, how many times have we been sitting here late at night? And all of a sudden it's like, dude, we've been talking for 2 hours. You should have recorded that.
We got done sparring at 9:30. It's 11 p.m. Nobody's eating, and everybody's still talking.
And we all have to be at work at 8 a.m.
Yeah. But those are the sessions that you're like, man, that was so money.
Dude, yeah. And that's kind of like what our goal is with this, is to help kind of just share what our like, I guess, our culture is for the academy with other people, and get them to see what it is. Like, we started a new online store too. It's PMTlifestyle.com, but it's like we found like a whole, like, we were getting these hats to get like more snapbacks and stuff made, but it's just making more like the Eat Sleep T-shirts.
Sure.
Having that, and like did you see the Pu'u Tassos?
I didn't see that.
Dude.
No, but I mean, who doesn't drive around and sees like a a martial arts sticker, like, hey, who's that?
Yeah, who's that? Someone was driving with my sticker on, like, dude, this asshole drove around and cut in front of me.
Yeah, you should get the key.
And then he told me who it was. I'm like, dude, Ralph's driving around like that.
Yeah, that's the other thing too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the one reason that I haven't put like a full wrap out on my car.
Full wrap.
Yeah, because people would be like, I know where that is. But yeah, man, I really appreciate having you on today, just sharing a little bit of martial arts. I hope we can do it again. Is there any shout outs you want to give to anybody out there? I know you had somebody that you were one of your friends this week, Tabitha.
Yeah, Tabitha
from
Ricci,
Paragon, local.
Paragon. Well, yep. Member of the Paragon family, the Knuckleheads family. I had a pro fight in South Dakota. Much love to her. She did a great job representing herself
LFA
and the
fighting,
academies.
Right?
Yep, LFA. She won a tough decision against a very tough girl who was game. I mean, I've trained many rounds with Tabitha, and to go 3-5s at full speed with her is a tall order, and this girl was game.
What weight class is she?
Straw weight? I don't remember what that is. She's little, but damn, she's a handful. And they call her Baby Shark. Folks, look her up. She's definitely going to be a player in the game at higher levels. Yeah. She's young and hungry too.
I'll put her Instagram in the show notes so people can find that too. Go follow and support the local fighters, guys. Because again, they're like, if you imagine, like, we're talking about all this stuff being shut down, and then you have to put a fight camp together in that.
Yeah, no, I mean,
that's hard.
And then I guess shout out to all the martial arts academies in the area, regardless of where you train, whether it's the Knuckleheads, the Marumbies, the West Coasts, the Paragons, Pu'u Muay Thai, talk about some of the guys that we're close with down south. Corona Muay Thai, Saxon,
Muay Thai School USA,
Muay Thai School USA, Sean Yakubian, Double Dose, you know what I mean? Like, let's talk about all these guys that we got a lot of love for, and we want to see them again at local events soon. Damn, we know it's tough out there for all of us to keep it going, but, it's part of my lifestyle, COVID or not. You know what I mean? Something's going to kill me. It might as well be martial arts.
Yeah, man, that's for sure. And it's one of those things that if if this is the way that it ends for right now, this chapter, cool. I'm ready for the next one.
Yeah, no, well, it's gonna find a way, like fucking Jurassic Park up in here. We're gonna find a way.
Yeah.
And being safe with everyone right now, having that close knit circle of people, is key. And don't at me. The health board or whatever.
All right, Todd. Well, thanks for coming in today, man. Really appreciate it. Everybody out there, don't forget to give us a follow. Share this podcast available on YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. If you're watching on iTunes, don't forget to leave a review. If you're on YouTube, please leave us a comment. Let us know what you think, what you want to see more of, what you want to see less of. Don't forget to check out the new merch. Also put the link in the show notes.
Chopped Up Badger on Instagram, you guys.
Oh, but you're going to be tagged on there for sure.
Hey, you're going to, you follow me. You're going to get love, humor, my emotions on my sleeve. Updates about my kids in the service,
and some dank memes.
Yeah, but much love to you guys.
All right, everybody, have a great rest of your day. Thank you so much, Todd. Have a good afternoon, man.
Fuck yeah, I love you guys. I'm out.